It's time to place your bets. Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It is me, Joey P. Joe P's a P. It's Monday Night Football. It's spooky, and all the teams have orange in them. Ooh, the Browns helmets are orange. And wouldn't you know it, orange also for the Bengals. Do you think that possibly the schedulers did this on purpose for Halloween, Boggs? Do you think they did?
I mean, maybe. I don't the orange and black and all of that stuff, I guess. But I've watched the Steelers play the Ravens on a Halloween. There's been a lot of Halloween games, so I'm sure we'll see the goofball in the crowd with the pumpkin on his head, like we always do. It's just these tropes. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old, and I've seen it all before. You know what I mean?
You have a condition called a cynical you-know-what hole. It happens sometimes. I've had it for many years. It's a terrible thing. I will say this also.
My doctor prescribed me liquor.
So. You know what I would like, though? The Cleveland Browns do have that orange helmet. I think for Halloween, they should always do some sort of pumpkin designs.
Like a jack-o'-lantern.
Turn them all into jack-o'-lanterns would be fantastic. That's what I'd like
to see. Make them all different ones. Like,
you're allowed that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's good.
Like a contest.
See? I mean, they'll never do that, but no. I would love it.
That would be missing the boat. That's what they're doing. All right.
I mean, I would immediately make my pumpkin look like a Bengals helmet. So I got the ball thrown to me on it.
So you can get traded, just leave with them. All right. The Cleveland Browns are at home. They are 3.5-point home dogs, though. Woof, woof. To the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 4-3. Things starting to come together for the Bengals, but Jamar Chase won't be there to enjoy it for the next few weeks. He will be out. They've still got Higgins. They still got Boyd. They still got Mixon. The number is 45 in this game. If you like the Browns to upset, it's plus 150 on the money line. This feels pretty comfortable to me. I feel like, the Cleveland Browns defense has been very inconsistent all year. The offense, very one-dimensional, of course, because Jacoby Brissett's just trying to hold down the fort. So the 3.5 on the Bengals side, it seems pretty safe, but we've been kind of fooled recently on some of these primetime games, Boggs. Do you think the 3.5 is the way you go, or do you think that the Browns keep this one close?
Well, I can tell you that I'm not betting the result of this game. I will stick to my props this week, which, haven't been fantastic as of recent. Sam Ehlinger, how does he not rush for 21.5 yards yesterday? I mean, I was furious about that. Look, the Browns have won 4 in a row against the Bengals. So this is one of those division rivalry games where you kind of, I know it's the old trope. Once again, the cynical, coming out here. But it really is different. I mean, of all the teams that beat the Bengals this year, you wouldn't think the Steelers would be one of them. But, that's what we got week 1. So I don't know. I think you're right. I think logic and what we've seen on the field says Cincinnati rolls Cleveland in this one. The offense is becoming very one-dimensional without Watson. Like you said, Brissett just is getting figured out recently. And Cleveland's defense has just played so bad against the run.
Yeah.
So I think those are the two things. So if I were to put my money on it, I would bet on Cincy, but I wouldn't touch the total. I would take, though.
Okay, very good.
Take the under on that.
Taking the under on this. Yeah, that's what I figured you'd go.
I just don't think Cleveland is going to score that many points. So
no, it's fair enough. Fair enough. And look, again, it's a one-dimensional offense right now for the most part. So, and David Njoku being out too, not a good thing. Let's talk about some of those props though, because I'm with you. It feels like a very prop-heavy sort of game instead. And I got to tell you, I'm really surprised by the number 67.5 being the rushing total for Joe Mixon, considering how bad the Browns have been against the run recent weeks. So 67.5 seems like a smash to me. It's minus 130. So obviously the juice is a lot, but I would still go in for this. And I think if you pair it with the anytime Joe Mixon touchdown, which you're getting in places like FanDuel for minus 120, you're adding in a couple things here. I think you kind of just go in on the Joe Mixon train. Are you with me and are you boarding it?
Yeah. I mean, I took your ticket for this one, Joe. I mean, Austin Eckler just put up like 173 rush yards on this team. They're bad in the interior. I don't know that Myles Garrett is 100%. I think he has looked better the further he moves away from this car wreck thing. And I think the Cincinnati line.
And by car wreck, he means actual car wreck, by the way, not the
actual car wreck. Yeah. Right. So he'll be good.
Here.
But nobody else is good on that line. So I think they're going to get wrecked up the gut again, even against the Bengals offensive line. So give me Mixon for that over. I love it.
All right. So Mixon for that over. Are you touching into the all-purpose yards or things like that? You're just sticking solely to the rushing here.
I'll stick to the rushing. I mean, I don't hate. I didn't see what the total was for all purpose. What was it like? 87 or 90,
Let's
somewhere in that
see.
range.
I'll pull that up there. But I see. To me, I would rather just keep it in the rushing. I think that's
Yeah,
just
I
a
would keep
better
it in the
spot to be.
rushing.
Especially
I
with
get
Chase out, you want to simplify the offense just a tad, so that you
right.
can't throw the ball and be aggressive. There's plenty of pieces out there to still do that with. You've got Hurst, who's played very well. The two wide receivers we mentioned too. We'll see if Mike Thomas gets any run in this game as well. But I mean, other than that, just seems like kind of the right, the right approach, I guess, as we're talking about. Just stick with
Yeah,
what we know, and we know where the Browns are bad against the run. Another running back too. I just want to talk about real quick too. How much play at all, if at all, do you think that we get out of Joe Mixon
Kareem.
tonight? I mean Kareem Hunt rather. That's what I was looking
I
for.
don't.
Sorry.
I don't think he ends up getting much at all. I don't think they
Mhm.
trade. I think they don't play him. He might just be a straight up inactive because he's on the trading block. They clearly want to get rid of him. So why play him in this game with
Well,
the trade
here's why
deadline
I ask you.
tomorrow?
He's got 10.5 receiving yards. You can still bet that in places like Caesars right now. You could go and bet the 34.5 under on the rushing yards right now on DraftKings. It's plus 105.
I just think up until the last 2 weeks, that I'm staying completely away from Kareem Hunt until we know
Right, but I'm
anything
saying
about
is
him.
if you can
But
lock in the under just in case he gets traded or he's inactive, I would do that now because
it's
the
not
chances of
it's
him
not a bad
being
idea.
the chances of
Yeah,
him playing today at all are slim. The
they're
chances of him playing enough to
50-50.
hit some of these numbers, right? But to hit those numbers, like I don't 34.5 is a decent number there.
But
I was
but see,
shocked at how
until
high
the
it was.
last 2 weeks, Kareem Hunt had put up at least 45 rushing yards and at least 10 receiving yards in every game. And that is why
Yeah, but I
those are
just
the
wonder
numbers.
about him getting completely James Robinson, like we saw that
I
2 weeks ago in Jacksonville.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not betting Kareem Hunt, and if I bet anything, it is the under for sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying, gotta lock it in now though, because if you get
Yeah.
any whiff of news, it's gonna come right off the board. So this is one.
I'm
It's
surprised it's still
4:38 on
available,
the
to
East
be
Coast
honest
time.
with you.
I was shocked, but it's still available in some spots. So go out
Right.
there, take a look at it. Let's get to more Bogman's and less of mine here. Tyler Boyd, 60.5 receiving yards, going over or under that bad boy.
Let's go over that. It's not just that 10.5 targets per game are gone with Jamar Chase here, and they got to go somewhere, right? You would assume.
Mhm.
It's more about like, look, the last 2 weeks, Burrow has been looking Chase's way, and the last 2 weeks have been Burrow's best, or Boyd's way, excuse me. And
Yeah.
the last 2 weeks have been Burrow's best 2 games this year, I think. So,
And
especially
Denzel
last
Ward
week
is going to
was
be out for this game
incredible.
too. He was
And
officially
Denzel
ruled
Ward
out
sucked anyway.
yesterday.
I wouldn't
I
care
know.
if he was
Just
playing, but
another
whatever.
guy
They're
out
down
there.
another starter. So
Mhm.
get Martin Emerson, a rookie, up. I'm all about that. So I really like Tyler Boyd today. Not just because of the Jamar Chase injury, but because he had been getting it anyway. I think it was 66 yards 2 weeks ago and then over 100 last week. So he's been good recently. So I love this total for Boyd. I think he smashes it.
All right, let's get to the next one here. Mike Thomas, 2.5 receptions is the number, plus 115. You like the over or the under on this one?
I like the over on this one. And look, Mike Thomas has not put together a ton of good games recently, right? But
Mhm.
it's because what the Bengals do is they filter their touches to 5 players. It's the 3 wideouts, the tight
Mhm.
end, Hurst, and Mixon, and that's it. Sometimes you'll see P. Ryan come in and get some. Maybe Mike Thomas will get a catch or two. But now that Mike Thomas is one of the 5 guys, which now I'm probably going to have that for dinner.
I was
But
gonna say, now all I'm thinking about are the fries, which you
right,
have to get them early
you
because
got to
if
get the
you
Cajun
you
ones
got to
too.
get them. You see, I've never had the Cajun. You like the Cajun Caesar?
Oh
All right, really?
man, come on,
All
Joe.
right,
Trust the
all
fat
right.
guy here. Let's go. Get
Sure,
yourself the
always,
Cajun ones.
always. The
So,
problem is I have kids, so if I go get the fries, I get the Cajun, and they don't like them. Then it's like they don't
well,
have fries.
yeah, we'll
So
get the small one
get the
for
small
you,
one for
and
them.
then
Well, a
when
small one's
everybody
like
likes them, you
12
go get
pounds of
more.
potatoes at Five
Sure.
Guys. That's the thing.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
anyway, back to Mike
Right.
Thomas.
But back to Mike Thomas. Now Mike Thomas goes up to be one of those 5 guys that touches the ball, right?
Right.
With Chase down. So he should be in on more snaps. He should be getting more looks. And, they've been practicing with him the whole week as this guy. And he's stepped up and done it before. So 2.5 receptions, pretty low. We're getting plus juice on that one, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, plus 115 on 3 catches. I'll take it.
All right, very good. Let's get to another one here. Hayden Hurst, 37.5 receiving yards, minus 125 on the under, and you want to go there.
Yeah, and it's because he's been nicked up. And look, he's played through the groin injury, which hasn't really bothered him as much. It was kind of just like, okay, why are we still listing him as a groin injury? But he picked up an ankle injury last week. So it's two things, not just one. I normally would like to smash an over if he was 100% healthy here, but there was questions about him going into the game all the way up until I believe yesterday. They said he was going to play for sure. So I'm still a little leery on him. Groins and ankles are like the first two things that can be re-injured outside of maybe a hamstring, right? So I don't want to put any faith in him. So if I'm picking something here, I will take the under on those receiving yards.
All right, last one here. Bogman's favorites. Myles Garrett over on the 0.75 sacks here, and that's -110. I always like that we give a defensive one. I think it's very important. Goodness gracious, last Monday we certainly rocked the Matthew Judon total.
Yeah, that was your call, Joe, for sure. Judon,
it's we here. It's all
right. But look, I mean, could there be a more obvious one to take? How bad has Jonah Williams been? And that's right where Myles Garrett is going to line up, and all it takes is one play. So I don't care if they sawed off one of Myles Garrett's arms before this game. I think he'd still get a sack against Jonah Williams. Bengals are still going to end up passing the ball a decent amount, which puts Joe Burrow in harm's way. You have one of the best pass rushers in the NFL going against one of the worst pass protecting left tackles in the NFL. That's a formula for a sack at least. So, this one just seems fairly easy to me. It's probably my favorite one. The Joe Mixon one just seems so obvious. It almost seems like a trap, like it's so obvious.
It would if not for looking at how bad it's there for the taking. I almost think they're asking us to overthink it when they set that number 67. It's like you're doing it.
Well, that's why I said it feels like
falling
a trap.
Into the trap.
Yeah,
you're falling into the trap of thinking it's too good to be true. It's not. It's good. Just take what we can get. Anytime touchdown scores, Hayden Hurst plus 250. I think that's an interesting one tonight in this game. Obviously, you get minus money on Joe Mixon, -120, and Nick Chubb, same. T. Higgins, -110, on that one. Amari Cooper, plus 170 is not bad. Tyler Boyd, plus 145, also not too shabby.
You know who I liked on that?
Who do you like on that?
Touchdowns are tough, right? But
sure.
Let's go with Harrison Bryant. I think he's plus 350 because David Njoku's down. A lot of receiving options there.
Yeah, plus 320 on FanDuel, I see right now, but plus 350 you can get in some other spots. There's no doubt about that. Let's talk a little Nick Chubb here. Some numbers here on Chubb. 81.5 rushing yards. You like the over or under on that one? Do you have a lean?
If I lean anything for Chubb, it's over. I mean, he is the offense right now, and he is one of the best running backs in the NFL. So I think the number's a little high for me to take. I'm, just if I'm picking one to bet on, it's clearly that Joe Mixon one. So, but I mean, I like the over for Chubb for sure.
All right, and this one over at Caesars -119, you can get the under on Joe Burrow's passing yards, 267.5. And if we like Mixon to have a good day on the ground, I imagine we got to go with the under on Joe Burrow. It just kind of makes sense here. So I want to make sense of this. I like the under on Joe Burrow here for the 267.5. Thoughts?
The only reason I don't take this is because the secondary has been so bad recently for Cleveland that they can really pick their poison. If they want to roll with Burrow and have him throw, I mean, he's been over 300 yards the last 2 weeks in a row. They can, but if Mixon goes off for 180, I also would not be surprised if they run it 25 times and, Burrow's down to 25 pass attempts or whatever. So if I had to pick something there, I would pick the under just because I think Mixon's going to be so successful.
Okay, there you have it. All right, everybody. Make sure you go out there and go to bettingpros.com to see all the other content there. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Betting Pros and click that little bell till it goes ding for the notifications. Enjoy the spooky Monday Night Football with all the orange teams. Oh, I have trick-or-treating awaiting me right now. So I'm going to go out there and take some candy and enjoy the evening, everybody. Happy Halloween. Enjoy your betting. And that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Scott Bogman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time.